we're just just out here this morning in the bee yard, checking in on our mating nukes again. Actually feeding. I've got my bucket of feed sitting over here, just 50-50 sugar water. But figured I'd pop the lids on the nukes at least just to take a peek and see how they're doing on the mating nukes. And so far, every single one of them that I've looked into still has bee activity in it. I haven't opened the lids to actually inspect the queens. I don't have my smoker lid or anything like that. I don't know if I will this morning. Probably should. I probably need to. Man, is there fog on the lens? Hey, look at that. Anyway, just show you guys. I'm just lifting the lids and just taking a peek. So that one, well, not a good example because that one's got bees in it, or got a screen in it. But we can go through this one. Whoopsie. There's our bees. I think you guys can see that. I've got it on front facing camera, so it's hard for me to see what you guys can see, but peek in there, we got bees. And on down the line. So these all have my my custom, I guess you'd call them custom feeder lids that I built. It's basically a migratory cover. I add a little extra shim to it to help stand it up off the hive a little bit. And I've actually started cutting all the holes in my lids. See, this is the size of a regular mouth mason jar. I'm trying to get rid of all my regular mouth jars just from a personal basis. So I've actually started cutting all the new ones. See these holes, see there's a gap around the edge? That's because this is actually cut for a wide mouth mason jar, and I'm gonna get jars on it here in just a minute. But anyway, I've got all those feeder lids on. The day that I set up the hives, I didn't have time to put feeders on them. Of course, it's been like 10 days now since I made the splits. But it looks like everybody's doing well. We've had enough wildflower blooming and stuff that I figured they'll do okay. They're not gonna starve to death. But I'm gonna try to get some syrup on them today, try to get them building up. So anyway, just going through the whole rest of the yard, like I said, doing feeding, popping on the nukes, just checking that they have activity. I did find one over there. She was one of the splits that I made where I actually took the queen and put her into a split and then left her her hive as another split and gave them a queen cell. So the one that I put the queen into, she was in a release cage just to make sure she didn't abscond. She's still in the cage. I opened the hive and I was like, man, there's like, a couple hundred bees maybe. And I was like, shoot, that queen absconded and she's gone. The queen cage is still in there. I just pulled it out and kind of set it to the side. Turn around and look at it a minute later. She's still in there. They hadn't eaten the candy plug out. So we'll see. It's a very, very small hive. I should probably give them a little bit more bees and see if I can kind of bolster their population. It's never a hive that I would think would survive on its own. I'm going to see if they can stick with that queen for now. I'll try to shake some more bees into them, give them a little bit of a boost here in a little bit. But, it's really, really teeny tiny. They will never make it on their own. They're going to need some artificial support with some brood from other hives, from bees from other hives. Anyway, not the point. The point was, well, kind of the point. Checking nukes, feeding bees. It's a beautiful morning. All right, so going through the nukes, I just decided to go ahead and go through them just to see what I could find. And I went through 10 of them. I'm not sure, I don't remember where the 11th one that got a queen cell. I think it's that 10 frame over there. Anyway, I went through all these little ones right here on the rail, and I went through these over on this rail, and I went through 10. The results that I counted were 8 to 1 to 0, and what that means is 8 of them still had good activity. I think 7 of those 8 I spotted the queen. A couple of them looked small, like they were still virgins. A couple looked big, like they were mated but not laying yet. One of them was laying, and the 0 actually still had the virgin queen, but the hive was beetled out and wax mouthed out. Now that one, the lesson learned, the other thing I can think on that one was when I made the split, I gave them a bunch of drone comb, more than any other split. And that would kind of stand to reason. If I give them too much drone and not enough worker, then that's what you're going to end up with, is the workers can't clean house, can't maintain things. The drones are just lazy, eating the honey, and the whole thing falls apart. So luckily I did find the queen in that one. She was still there, and I went ahead and took her to another hive. Oh, I guess maybe there's 2 zeros. I took her to another hive that was a nuke that had queen cells. I couldn't find a queen, couldn't find eggs, and they had emergency cells. So I tore down I offered them the queen from the drone nuke. They readily accepted her as far as crawling all over the cage and being happy. I talked to you guys about that, or showed you that. So I went ahead and put her in there. Now that's the cage that I used was the one that was over here that they still had the queen in there for like 10 days. So I carved out some of the candy plug just so it was much thinner. They acted like they were already accepting her. I almost just direct released her, but I figured, well, I'll go ahead and do the candy plug, buy myself at least a few more hours, slow it down. But they seemed like they wanted her, so I gave her to them, and went ahead and tore down the drone hive, because like I said, it's full of, well, I can just show you, it's full of, in the bottom, maybe y'all can see down there. I'm going to pull out this frame of, well, here you can look on the frame. See on the frame it's all webbed out at the bottom, wax moth webbing. And when we look down there in the bottom of the hive, hopefully the camera's focusing for you guys, looking down at the bottom of the hive, lots of dead larvae, lots of wax moth larvae and beetle larvae crawling around, making a terrible mess of things. So anyway, this hive, you can tell just looking on the frame, it's just very, very, very drone heavy, just loaded with drones. And like I said, I don't remember when I was making the splits. I think I just grabbed that because it was all capped drones, and I thought, well, you know, capped brood's gonna make them stick better than nothing. And I did prove that up. So anyway, that one's opened up. I'll let the robbers find it, rob it out, clean it out. Oh, and then it will go in the unfortunate stack here of all the other hives that got slimed or webbed out. So yeah, whatever. 8, 1, 2 zeros, I don't know. But making the best of what I can with it. Hey, you know what? If 8 of them still stick out of 11 original splits, for me, that's a good deal. So if we look across on the rails now and see if everything we have now sticks, 3, 4, 7, 10, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 21. If everything that I have now sticks, I'll be at 21. But this brings up an important thought, or question, whatever, is I feel like these queens should be mated by now. One of them is, but I feel like all of them should be. They should normally mate within the first week, and we've had good weather. There's no reason why they wouldn't have mated. So we're gonna see, you know, one more week, see how they do. Basically, I'm try to check them in another week and see if more of them are laying. But it leads me to understand, you know, in the future I should graft, and then about 2 weeks later I should graft again. That way I get that stagger. So if I do start popping hives like this and I find that the first queen didn't take, then I've got another, you know, queen cell ready to give them. That just makes good sense. But hopefully I'll get to that point in the future. I'm not going to do it today. Of course, I'm already 2 weeks behind now, and I'll wait. I'll be even further behind, but I got other work I got to do. I got to finish feeding these girls, and then I got to get across the road to work on excavators. So anyway, just figured I'd share a little update with you guys on how things are going in the bee yard. Hopefully they stick. We shall see. Just walking back out of the bee yard. Got one of the cutest little helpers, though she's sweaty and nasty. Just checked through the Nucs, and 11 out of 11 that I checked all have laying queens, so that is terrific news. A week ago, only one of them had a laying queen, so I was a little nervous, but they're all looking good now. We're up to 21 in the yard if everything sticks, and 3 more hives abroad, so hopefully gaining a little ground here.